We need to stop tiptoeing around our kids and sheltering them from the consequences of their actions. We got to teach them beforehand so that guilt won't motivate us to be in their defense when we know that they're doing wrong. Lack of discipline and structure in the home is a sure way to ruin your child's future. It's time to be a parent. It's time to take responsibility for the position that we're in. If you have kids, like it or not, you have a responsibility to raise that child to the best of your ability. And this includes teaching essential skills that your child is going to need in life and to help your child navigate through life. And a lot of these skills may be things that we ourselves don't even know. That doesn't excuse us from the responsibility of teaching that child. That only means that we need to go and learn these skills. And there are no excuses. It's cheaper and easier than it's ever been to learn the information we need to know to find out the best ways to teach that child what that child needs to learn. I mean, you got to look at it like this. You got to look at the big picture. What is it that you want for your child? Obviously, any decent person would want their child to be a successful, productive member of society. Now, what things is it that you need to teach that child to attain those goals? Well, you're going to have to teach discipline. How are you going to resist negative temptations all around them if you don't teach them to be disciplined? You got to teach them respect. And that starts with your child respecting you. And your child is not going to respect you if you're using this do as I say, not as I do mumbo jumbo. Children respond to modeling. What they see you do in the home, how they see you behave, is what they're going to migrate toward. Now, if it's a conflict between what you're saying and what you're doing, they're not going to respect you, and it's going to be a problem. You got to teach them that there's consequences to their actions. If they don't understand that concept, they grow up doing whatever comes to mind because it feels good at the time, it's going to be a problem. Listen, all of these things may sound minor and insignificant while the child is still very young. But what happens when the child grows up and hasn't been taught these things? You're now dealing with somebody 12, 13, 14 years old, and you're frustrated because the child has no discipline. You're frustrated because the child won't listen to you. The child won't listen to you because the child don't respect you. The child don't respect you because you haven't been a parent. You haven't provided the leadership, the discipline, the structure in the home that child needed to have that respect for you. And guess what? If the child don't understand that there are consequences to his or her actions, the child is running around with no discipline, a lack of respect, and doing whatever. And while that child is still a child, guess who is going to be stressed the most by all this? You, as the parent. So now, not only have we directly contributed to the likelihood of that child never escaping poverty, or at least not having a fair chance at achieving a full, successful, and productive life, because we haven't taught these basic biblical essential life skills, principles, we also have now made our own lives miserable from their preteen on up to adulthood. That's right, because we as adults, in most situations, are responsible for the consequences of the child's actions. Yes, if your child goes downtown busting out windows, who's going to have to pay for them? Now, you might say, oh, no, my child ain't got to worry about that one. My child ain't going to do nothing that serious. Well, your child don't necessarily have to be the one that does something that serious. Don't forget, if your child don't respect you and your child don't have any discipline, then that child won't listen to you when you tell them not to hang out with those group of kids that you know are a bad influence. Maybe a little worse than your own child. And so your child was just with them when they busted out the window. And even if your child wasn't with them when they busted out the window, maybe your child was with them right after, and when they got caught, the child might get off. But you still have to go through that unnecessary drama, all because of your child's choice of friends. Either because your child don't respect you enough to take your advice when you told them not to hang with those people, and if they don't respect you, of course they're not going to respect other people's property. Or because they don't have the discipline to follow your advice. Now, there's something else that's commonly thrown out there, and that's this little thing with, that's the way I was raised, and that's the way my parents taught me, and that's the way my parents did me, and that's how I was treated. Well, that in itself is ridiculous. It's fine if you're talking about something that worked, and that's what you're repeating. What you know worked for you as a child, then repeat it. But the things that you know that your parents did that was non-productive or ineffective, or just absolutely didn't work, or was just downright wrong, you don't turn around and do that to your child because it's easier to do. And in many cases, the things that I'm talking about, it's not something that our parents intentionally did when they raised us. But I'm talking about with the advancement in technology and the abundance of information we have now, we just know things that our parents wasn't aware of when they were parenting us. Now, there's some things that they should have known too. But, you know, the bottom line is nobody's perfect. And I'm not pretending to be perfect. And no one expects parents to be perfect. But it is to the parents' benefit, it's to the child's benefit, it's to society's benefit, it's to everybody's benefit for the parent to try his or her best to be perfect. We can't keep blaming our past and the way we were raised and the things that happened to us for our shortcomings. We got to stop blaming the school system. We got to stop blaming Bush. Stop blaming the white man. Stop blaming the black man, the red man. Stop blaming the government. Stop blaming the police for not doing the job. Maybe we ought to get behind the police sometimes when they do the job, instead of being so quick to jump and claim that they're overreacting when they do the job, when they move on suspicion, when they move on judgment. I guess we just want them to sit back and wait for crime to take place before they take action. To me, the big picture is this. Crime prevention is a better place than dealing with the consequences of crime. And if law enforcement is not proactive, then my tax dollars are being wasted. But I'll talk about that later. I'm off topic right now. Let's get back to parenting. Well, listen, speaking of proactive, we'll act like that was my segue to this. Being proactive is one of the key elements of the mindset of a person who's looking at the big picture. You know what I mean? Because what it is you want your actions to lead to what you want to be the final result, which is the big picture. You see what I'm saying? So one of the other very important things that I think is highly overlooked in our homes is the health of our children. Now, on one level, you might say, yeah, that's ridiculous. Every parent wants a healthy child. Yeah, I know that. But are we, as a parent, taking full advantage of our role to be proactive in making that want a reality? You say, well, what is this fool talking about now? Well, very simple. I mean, just today, what did you feed your child? How did you prepare the food? I mean, to me, as much as we know now about health and nutrition, it's almost criminal and negligent to keep feeding children fried food every day, full of grease. I just don't get it. I mean, why? Why? Lard and fat, simple carbohydrates, and sugar and sucrose. All that mess, man. It's ridiculous. I mean, think about it. Look around. You see how hard it is for people to lose weight, and how hard it is for people to diet, how hard it is to change their habits, eat healthier. Parents are in the position to be able to influence their children to eat healthier automatically, so that it'll be second nature, so that it will be normal to eat healthy. And that's one less problem, one less obstacle they got to deal with later in life. Obesity is the cause of too many problems and illnesses for us to ignore it any longer. You need to be healthy in order to be the best parent you can be, and being the best parent that you can be also means teaching your child to eat healthy. I've seen a parent put soda in a baby bottle. Now, where is the thinking in that? I wouldn't even have soda in the house with the child. I would never introduce my child to soda. Why? I mean, where's the benefit? But it goes even deeper than that. Okay, so let's say you are a soda drinker, or a beer drinker, cigarette smoker, whatever. Basically any bad habit. The objective should be for that not to become a normal part of that child's environment. The child shouldn't look up and see you smoking. The child shouldn't see you drinking. The child shouldn't look up on his way to the refrigerator and see cases of soda stacked in the corner. For the simple fact that all these things has psychological impact. And you say, my child is going to see this anyway. My child is going to be exposed to this anyway. And it's no big deal anyway. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is we know that this stuff is unhealthy. We know it. And everybody's got bad habits. But if we're not going to try to change those bad habits, don't try to justify it. And by all means, do not hardwire those bad habits into your child's brains. Children are probably paying more attention to what's going on around them by the time they're 4 years old than any other time in their life. It's the beginning of their life. They have no other way to form a direction in which to go except to pay attention to what goes on around them. They're going to combine what they see around them in their immediate environment with what it is you're trying to teach them. And if it's along the same lines, it's going to provide guidance. If it's not along the same lines, it's going to provide confusion. Whoa, I like that. I'm going to have to write that down.